Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive. You provided some really interesting research material on supplements for anxiety and stress relief.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack.
Yeah, let's dive right in. In your notes, you mentioned experiencing some intense physical symptoms of stress, like tight shoulders or racing heart trouble sleeping.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's actually happening in our bodies when we feel that way?
Well, you're right to focus on the physical, because sometimes we forget just how deeply stress affects our bodies.
Yeah.
It all comes down to our fight or flight response, that primal instinct to either confront danger or run away. And
Yeah.
your notes highlighted this fascinating study that found chronic stress can actually shrink the hippocampus.
What?
That's the part of the brain
Right.
responsible for memory and learning.
Wow. Okay, so this isn't just about, feeling frazzled. It's actually impacting my brain's ability to learn.
Yeah.
I'm even more motivated to tackle this now.
It's not just the hippocampus either. The study you mentioned also linked chronic stress to an increased risk of depression and a weakened immune system.
Okay, so we're talking serious stuff here. So what can we do to combat this?
Well, that's where supplements can play a really fascinating role.
Yeah.
They can help regulate our stress response, support our nervous system, and even balance those key neurotransmitters that influence our mood.
So it's about giving our bodies the resources they need to function better under pressure.
Exactly.
I noticed you've been reading a lot about magnesium, which is often called the calming mineral.
hmm
One of the articles you shared even mentioned a study where magnesium supplementation helped people fall asleep faster and sleep more soundly.
Yeah, and it makes sense when you think about how magnesium works.
Yeah.
It actually helps relax muscle tension, which we know you've been struggling with.
Right.
And it also plays a key role in regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is crucial for mood stabilization.
Okay, so it's not just about feeling relaxed in the moment. It's actually working on a chemical level to help us feel calmer overall and maybe even get a better night's sleep, which I desperately need.
Exactly. And magnesium isn't the only supplement that can help. You also highlighted some research on ashwagandha, which falls into the category of adaptogens.
Okay, adaptogens. I have to admit, that word sounds a bit intimidating. What exactly are we talking about here?
Adaptogens are basically substances that help our bodies adapt to stress, making us more resilient to its effects. Remember how you mentioned feeling completely overwhelmed by deadlines lately?
Oh, yeah.
Well, adaptogens like ashwagandha can help your body manage that stress response more effectively.
So it's like having a built-in buffer against the craziness of life.
Right.
I like that.
Exactly.
One of the articles you shared even mentioned the study where ashwagandha significantly reduced cortisol levels, which is the main stress hormone, in participants who were chronically stressed.
It did.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And there are other adaptogens that might be helpful for you too, based on your research. We can talk about those a bit later. But for now, let's move on to another supplement. You've been curious about omega-3 fatty acids.
Ah, omega-3s. I know those are supposed to be good for your heart, but how do they fit into the anxiety and stress relief picture?
Well, you flagged a study that showed a strong correlation between low omega-3 levels and increased rates of anxiety and depression.
Mm.
It turns out that omega-3s are crucial for brain health. They're essential components of brain cell membranes, and they help reduce inflammation, which can impact mood and cognitive function.
So it's not just about feeling good emotionally, it's about supporting the physical health of our brains as well. I'm starting to see how all of this is interconnected.
Exactly. And speaking of interconnectedness, I'm particularly interested in a note you made about L-theanine and its potential for promoting relaxation without causing drowsiness.
Oh, yes. That's a big one for me. I need something that can help me chill out without making me sleepy,
Yes.
especially during the day when I need to be productive. Isn't L-theanine found in green tea?
You're right. And you even highlighted a study that demonstrated how L-theanine can increase alpha brainwave activity.
Oh, wow.
These brainwaves are associated with a state of calm focus, that sweet spot between being relaxed and mentally sharp.
Okay, so while I'm sipping my green tea, I'm actually giving my brain a little relaxation boost without sacrificing my focus. I'm definitely intrigued by this one. What else do we have on our list of stress-busting superheroes?
Well, you mentioned being concerned about getting enough sunlight, especially during the winter months. That made me think about vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. You've even highlighted an article that talks about how vitamin D deficiency is linked to an increased risk of both anxiety and depression.
Right, I've heard about that connection, but I never really understood how it worked. Does vitamin D actually impact our mood?
It seems so.
Yeah.
One study you provided showed that vitamin D supplementation led to a significant reduction in anxiety symptoms in people who were deficient. It appears that vitamin D influences the production and activity of serotonin, that mood-regulating neurotransmitter we talked about earlier.
Fascinating. So even something as simple as getting enough vitamin D could play a role in building resilience to stress. This is all starting to make a lot of
It
sense.
is, and it highlights the importance of considering all these factors, diet, lifestyle, and targeted supplementation when it
Mm.
comes to managing stress and supporting mental well-being. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's dive a bit deeper into those adaptogens you were curious about. You mentioned wanting to explore adaptogens a bit further,
Yeah,
and you even flagged a few specific ones in your research that caught your eye.
right.
You had a question about holy basil,
Oh, yeah.
which is often used in cooking, and its potential benefits for stress relief.
Yeah, I'm all for a delicious way to manage stress.
Well, holy basil,
Mm-hmm.
as you noted in your research, has been used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine,
Okay.
and modern science is catching up. One study you highlighted found that holy basil helped reduce stress hormones and improve mood in people who were feeling overwhelmed.
So it's like a delicious cup of tea that also helps you chill out. Definitely adding holy basil to my shopping list.
And you also mentioned Siberian ginseng,
Mm-hmm.
which is known for its energizing and focus-enhancing properties.
Yeah.
You even highlighted an article that talked about its ability to combat fatigue and brain fog, which are common symptoms of chronic stress.
Yes, I'm constantly battling brain fog, especially when I'm feeling stressed. How does Siberian ginseng actually work?
Siberian ginseng, like other adaptogens, helps your body adapt to stress by regulating your stress response system. It doesn't directly suppress or stimulate the nervous system, but rather helps it maintain balance.
So it's like giving my body the tools it needs to become more resilient to stress instead of just masking the symptoms.
Exactly. And the beauty of adaptogens is that they tend to be very gentle and safe when used appropriately. They work in harmony with the body's natural processes.
I'm really starting to see the potential of adaptogens for supporting mental well-being, but with so many options out there, it can be overwhelming to know where to start.
That's where personalized research and guidance come in. Remember, not every adaptogen is right for everyone. It's about finding what works best for your individual needs and constitution.
Okay, so if someone is interested in exploring adaptogens further, what are some tips for choosing the right ones and incorporating them into their routine?
I always recommend starting with one adaptogen at a time and gradually increasing the dosage as needed.
So don't go overboard and try to take everything at once.
Right. It's best to start slowly and observe how your body responds. Each adaptogen has its own unique properties and effects, so it's important to pay attention to how you feel. For example, you noted that rhodiola rosea might be a good choice for boosting energy and focus in the morning, while ashwagandha might be more suitable for promoting relaxation and sleep in the evening.
That makes sense. It's all about finding the right rhythm for your body and your lifestyle.
Exactly. And as always, consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement regimen. They can help you determine the appropriate dosage and ensure that the adaptogens you choose are safe and compatible with your health history.
Okay, so we've covered supplements in detail, but I know you're a big advocate for holistic health. Supplements are just one piece of the puzzle, right? What are some lifestyle changes that can complement the use of supplements for stress management?
You're absolutely right. Supplements can be a valuable tool, but they work best when combined with a healthy lifestyle. And you've done some interesting research on this too. For example, you highlighted an article that emphasized the importance of sleep for stress management.
Yes, I know I'm definitely more irritable and easily overwhelmed when I'm not getting enough sleep.
And there's a scientific reason for that. When we're sleep deprived, our bodies produce more cortisol, which can exacerbate anxiety and stress.
Hmm.
That article you found even mentioned a study that showed how chronic sleep deprivation can lead to structural changes in the brain, similar to those caused by chronic stress.
Wow, that's pretty scary. I'm definitely going to prioritize getting those 7, 8 hours of sleep tonight. What about exercise? I know it's good for overall health, but how does it specifically help with stress?
Exercise has so many benefits for both our physical and mental health. You even flagged a study that showed how regular exercise can actually increase the size of the hippocampus, that part of the brain we talked about earlier that can negatively impacted by stress.
So exercise can actually reverse some of the damage caused by stress. That's incredible.
It is. And exercise also releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects, and it helps to reduce cortisol levels.
So it's like a natural antidepressant and stress reliever all rolled into one.
Exactly. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise most days of the week and find activities you enjoy so you're more likely to stick with it.
Great advice. Are there any other lifestyle changes we should consider?
You highlighted the importance of nutrition in your research, and you're absolutely right. What we eat directly affects our brain chemistry and our ability to cope with stress. You specifically mentioned the negative impact of processed foods, sugar, and caffeine on mood and anxiety.
Yes. I've definitely noticed that when I eat a lot of junk food, I feel more anxious and sluggish.
That makes sense. Those types of foods can disrupt blood sugar levels and lead to energy crashes, which can exacerbate feelings of stress and anxiety.
So focusing on a healthy, balanced diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains is key for supporting mental well-being.
Absolutely. And don't forget about stress-reducing practices like meditation yoga or spending time in nature. You've even bookmarked a few guided meditation apps in your research.
Yes, I've been meaning to try those out. I know those practices can help calm the mind and reduce anxiety, but it's hard to find the time sometimes.
I understand. But even a few minutes of mindfulness each day can make a big difference. It's about finding what works for you and incorporating these practices into your daily routine.
This has been so insightful. I'm feeling inspired to make some positive changes in my life to support my mental health and build resilience.
I'm so glad to hear that. Remember, you have the power to create a life filled with peace, joy, and well-being.
And sometimes we just need a little guidance and support along the way.
Absolutely. We're all in this together, and I'm here to help in any way I can.
This has been such a valuable conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and wisdom. I know our listeners are feeling empowered and ready to take charge of their mental health.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, taking care of your mental health is an act of self-love. So be kind to yourself and prioritize your well-being.
Beautifully said. We'll wrap up our deep dive into supplements for anxiety and stress in part 3, where we'll explore specific strategies for incorporating these powerful allies into your daily routine.
I can't wait to share more insights with you then. Until next time, take care and be well.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. You know, the science behind stress, the power of adaptogens, the importance of a holistic approach to well-being. But I'm ready to get practical. What are some actionable steps we can take to incorporate all of this amazing information into our daily lives?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You've actually laid the groundwork for this perfectly with your research. Remember how you created that detailed list of potential supplements
Yeah.
based on your specific needs and concerns?
Right. I was pretty proud of that list.
It's a fantastic
Yeah.
starting point for creating a personalized supplement plan.
I also remember feeling a little overwhelmed by all the options. Where do we go from here?
Well, the first step is to take an honest look at your current diet and lifestyle. Are there any areas where you might be deficient in certain nutrients? For example, you mentioned not getting enough omega-3s.
That's true. I'm not a big fan of fish, so I know I'm probably not getting enough omega-3s from my diet alone.
That's a perfect example of where a supplement could be helpful. You even highlighted a high-quality fish oil supplement in your research
I did.
that you were interested in trying.
It had all those certifications I was looking for. Third-party tested, sustainably sourced, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about adding supplements. It's also about identifying areas where you can make improvements to your lifestyle. We talked about the importance of sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Are there any changes you're thinking about making in those areas?
Definitely, I'm going to make a conscious effort to get to bed earlier and create a more relaxing bedtime routine. I've also been meaning to try out that yoga studio you recommended. And I'm going to cut back on the processed foods and sugar. I know those are doing me no favors.
Those are all fantastic steps. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress. Start with small, sustainable changes and build from there.
Okay, so let's say we've identified our supplement needs and made some lifestyle adjustments. What's next?
Next, we want to make sure we're choosing high-quality supplements. You've already got a good eye for this, looking for those certifications like third-party tested and organic. But you can also go a step further and reach out to the supplement companies you're interested in.
Oh, you mean like actually contacting them and asking about their sourcing and manufacturing processes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A reputable company will be happy to answer your questions and provide you with more information about their products.
That's a great idea. I never thought about doing that before. It really shows they have nothing to hide.
It does. And once you've chosen your supplements, remember to start with a low dosage and gradually increase as needed. Pay attention to how your body responds and don't hesitate to adjust accordingly.
So it's a process of experimentation and finding what works best for me. What about potential side effects? I know you mentioned that most natural supplements are generally safe, but there are always exceptions, right?
You're right. And that's why it's crucial to consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement regimen, especially if you have any pre-existing health conditions or taking other medications.
Okay, so we've talked about personalized plans, high-quality products, and working with our healthcare providers. Is there anything else we should keep in mind?
The most important thing is to remember that supplements are not a magic bullet. They work best when combined with a holistic approach to well-being. We need to address stress on multiple levels, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Oh, it's not just about popping a pill and expecting all my stress to melt away.
Exactly. It's about creating a sustainable lifestyle that supports your overall health and well-being.
Yeah.
And that includes getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, eating a healthy diet, and managing stress through practices like meditation or yoga.
It's all about those healthy habits we've been discussing.
It is. And it's also about being patient with yourself. Change takes time, and it's not always linear. There will be ups and downs along the way.
That's reassuring to hear. I sometimes get discouraged when I don't see results immediately.
I understand. But remember, you've already taken a huge step by taking the time to do this research and explore all these different options. You're clearly committed to improving your mental well-being, and that's incredibly powerful.
This has been such an eye-opening and empowering experience. I feel like I have a whole new toolbox for managing stress and supporting my mental health.
Me too. And remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of people struggle with stress and anxiety, and there's so many resources available to support you.
Thank you so much for guiding me through this deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. And to everyone listening, I encourage you to take what you've learned today and start implementing it in your own lives. Remember, small changes can make a big difference, and you deserve to feel your best.
On that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into supplements for anxiety and stress. We hope you found this journey informative and inspiring. Take care and be well.